So, you're ready to buy a home, but you don't quite know where to start. You want to know about the process, you want to be prepared, and you want to feel researched before you really tackle that first step or start talking to the realtor or start talking to a mortgage lender and start getting in. But we got to figure out what's the timeline, what are the major decisions that you have to be aware of, and honestly, how can I budget and prepare for this whole process? So, my name's Connor Tuck. I'm a realtor here in Southern New Jersey, and I'm licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And we're going to go over the 10 steps to the buyer process. So, step one is what I call focus on finances. The first thing you're going to want to do is understand, how am I going to buy this house? You may be lucky and have a nice big trust fund of cash and you can just buy the next house cash. And if you have that, congratulations, you will be able to skip this step. But for a large majority of you, we're probably going to be getting a mortgage. Now, a mortgage is just effectively somebody saying, hey, I'm going to give you a bunch of money and you could go buy a house with it. And you're going to make payments to me. And if you ever stop making those payments, I'm going to take the house back and I'm going to sell it to pay back the loan, right? That would be a foreclosure. So that mortgage process is always the first step as we go into this, because I don't even know what houses to take you to unless I know your budget. So let's talk about that first meeting with a lender and what are they going to look for? There's three things that a mortgage lender looks for in that first meeting. The first one is they're going to run your credit. Now, credit for a mortgage company is a little bit different than consumer credit. I know a lot of folks have like a Credit Karma or something similar where they track their credit, and that's fine. That's a good idea. However, when a mortgage company goes to run your credit, it's a much more thorough and forensic auditing of your credit report and your credit history. So there may be some things that get uncovered that don't show on one of those more consumer-centric apps. The second thing that they're going to take a look at is your income. Are you salaried income or do you have commission income? Do you have blended income where you're maybe earning overtime or you're doing extra projects like that on the side for maybe bonuses and things like that, right? If you're salaried, most of the time you only need about a year worth of income. And if you have one of these blended or commission-based incomes, most of the time they're going to need 2 years so that they can take an average of the 2 years and that will be your income. At the same time of the money coming in getting tracked, they also have to track the money going out, which would be your debts or any of your expense payments that you make on a revolving basis every month. Student loans, car payments, things like that all fall into that revolving debt account. And so they want to figure out, what is your debt to income ratio? That's a really useful ratio that the lender uses to determine how much of your overall income is already being taken up by other things and how much is left for real estate payments. The final thing that lenders are going to take a look at are your assets, right? So you got your credit, we got our income, and then the assets. And the assets are really just, how much cash do you have on hand? What's in your saving account and your checking account? What's in your 401k or what's in your IRA or any of those other investment accounts that you have, stocks, bonds, the whole nine, mutual funds, all of that counts towards your assets. And so the lender takes your credit, they take your income, they take your assets, and they put it through something called underwriting. Now, almost every lender and bank and institution around the country has a very similar automatic underwriting system, because what they have to do is put these in what's called a conforming loan. A conforming loan just means that it fits a certain number of criteria and standards, and it's able to be bundled and sold in the secondary financial market. That's why if you talk to anybody who you know that has a home at the moment and they're making mortgage payments, you can ask them and say, hey, are you still making mortgage payments to the person who wrote your loan? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. Most mortgage originators who actually, do the loan process with you during the buyer process, they eventually sell that loan into the secondary financial market, and it's picked up by a larger bank, a larger institutional investor, or someone that holds mortgage-backed securities. Okay, so the only thing you need to be aware of is, hey, how's my credit? Am I in the 500s? Well, I got some work to do. Am I in the low 600s? All right, well, I don't have as much work to do, but I do want to get it a little bit higher. Your goal entering this process should have a credit score above 680. Now, again, this isn't stock financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but as I've talked to lenders and I've talked to buyers and I've seen a lot of these pre-approvals go through, I recognize that if you can be above that 680 credit score, you're going to qualify for a really good interest rate. And we'll talk about interest rates in a later video. With your income, you want to make sure, hey, do I have a lot of debt and expenses that I'm paying that I don't need to? Well, let's cut those out. How's my income? Is that all solid? Most of the time, we can't just change that overnight, but there might be some reorganization of your expenses and those debts to maybe consolidate them or make them lower. And then on the final side, the assets. If you have money under your mattress, we can't count that towards your net worth. all money must be traceable and inside of active bank accounts so that there's a digital footprint for security purposes, for legal purposes, and all sorts of things. So that's going to do it for today on just kind of step one of the SPIRE process. It's just that focus on your finances. You want to make sure that when you go and you have that first meeting with the mortgage lender and they're going to review these three things, A, you're fairly aware of what you're looking at, and B, you're prepared if they have any recommendations. And that's kind of where I'm going to end this video. Is meeting with a mortgage lender is something that I do annually. Not even considering if I'm going to be rebuying a house, I'm just saying it's like a free financial meeting. They're going to sit down with you and say, hey, after looking at your credit and your income and your assets, here are a couple of things I'm going to recommend to improve your financial situation. Now, they're doing it because they want to help you qualify for a mortgage and they want to make sure they get you the best interest rate and the best terms. But on the flip side, it's a really nice, cheap, free way to get somebody who's really knowledgeable about that to give you their 2 cents on maybe what you can do to help better organize your finances. So that's going to do it for here, step one. We got 9 more steps to go. I hope you take this little bit of journey with me. And with any of these, if you have any questions on what we cover, feel free to comment them on the video here. You can also shoot me an email. You can also send me a text message. Most of my information is found anywhere you're going to find these videos. So I look forward to chatting with you next week. Talk to you soon.